Hey guys, Alyssa Lebrecq, nutritionist and gut expert, and tonight we're going to dive into 3 foods that will help you repair leaky gut. Now, you know I always like to make sure that you guys understand what the heck we're talking about, and I gotta be honest with you, this whole term leaky gut has become a bit of a buzzword, and what I realized when chatting with a lot of you guys who are in our community, many of you guys always say to me, I've heard of it, but I don't know what the heck it is. But I know it's important because everyone keeps talking about it. And so I'm going to just take a couple of minutes and make sure that you understand what it actually is so that you know what you're fixing and how the heck we need to fix it. Because you see, I'm seeing this diet out there called the leaky gut diet. I mean, it just blows my mind, guys. People are so creative on the World Wide Web, and this shit makes no sense. And so I want you to understand what it is so you know what we need to fix, and then you can take a clear course of action. Hey, Janice, I see you guys jumping in. Michelle, Cindy, it's awesome to see you guys here. All right, so what the heck is leaky gut? I want to backtrack for a second so you understand how we get to leaky gut, because one of the other issues with this whole topic is a lot of people look at it as like a standalone issue. They'll be like, oh, I have leaky gut. Well, leaky gut is basically just a symptom of other types of damage and deficiencies that are going on inside your gut. And it's also the precursor to further types of damage and deficiencies. So let's talk about how you get there and then some of the things that it will cause in your body. First of all, the way that you want to look at it is just general wear and tear on your body and your gut. It happens throughout your whole life. The chances of you having leaky gut are so great, all right? I mean, you have a greater chance of having leaky gut than you don't, okay? So the reason that that happens is, again, because we're exposed to all these different stressors, like straight up stress. If you've ever had to take antibiotics before, if you're eating the same foods all the time, not drinking enough water, maybe too much coffee, heck, even things that are completely out of our control, like aging and environmental toxins and travel. And so because of all of these stressors, what we've seen through studies is it depletes your good bacteria and your enzymes. Now, these 2 guys are responsible for breaking down your foods and keeping bad bacteria out. So essentially, every time you go to eat your foods, those foods aren't being broken down properly. And so they end up sitting in your gut and they rot and they ferment and they create this gas buildup. And that's one of the reasons why you bloat, but that's for another day. One of the things that happens though is because those foods are rotting is they keep rubbing up against the gut lining, and eventually it wears out this protective mucus layer that you guys have in your gut. And once you wear that out, you get this raw, inflamed intestinal lining. And it's why many of you guys find when you take apple cider vinegar or you eat spicy foods or any sort of acidic food, it burns like a bitch, right? And so you find yourself taking out foods, but remember, food isn't that problem in that case, it's your gut. So when this continues to escalate and you've worn out this mucus layer, we've got this inflamed gut lining, the tight junctions of your muscles start to loosen and we get these tiny holes in our gut lining, and that's what leaky gut is. Okay, so that's how we get there. Wear and tear from all of these daily stressors. And so I want to talk to you guys today about the 3 different foods that you can integrate to get working on healing that leaky gut. And I want you to understand though that that in itself isn't I find it so fascinating. My family, hold on here guys. My family always insists on calling every time we do this Facebook Live. It's like every week. All right, so here's the thing. Before we jump into the foods, you need to understand that it on its own is not going to fix all of your gut symptoms, because leaky gut is only one piece of the puzzle, right? When you have leaky gut going on, you need to understand all the other stuff that's happening so that you're not disappointed when you're like, I tried to fix the leaky gut and I'm still not pooping, or I still can't stop pooping, or I'm still bloating like a crazy woman, or a pregnant woman. So when you've got leaky gut going on, know that this is the root of inflammation. And when this continues, it can lead to anything from motility issues to hormone imbalances to skin issues, brain fog, fatigue, memory issues, irritability, headaches, joint pains, even it can worsen things like arthritis or any sort of inflammatory condition. And so know that you can't just address leaky gut. You got to understand there's this whole big picture going on. All right. Realistic expectations so that you can make sure you're setting yourself up for success. Does that sound good? All right, guys. So let's jump into the 3 foods, and I've put together some recipes for you guys too, so you can easily integrate them into your diet. The very first thing I want to talk to you guys about is bone broth. You guys have heard about it, but you're not drinking it enough, right? I promise you I'm not spying on you. You've heard of this before, but one of the things that you need to understand is that if you're going to use bone broth to help with repairing your gut, you can't drink it once in a blue moon and wonder why it didn't work. Sending that with much love. I used to do that too. Okay. If you're going to use bone broth as part of healing, you need to be drinking it daily. And I'd even encourage you to have 2 to 3 cups of it per day. So I know that that might seem like a lot, but remember, we're not dealing with just maintaining your gut health. We're likely in a spot for many of you where you've got severe gut infections going on. And so if we're going to use it for medicinal purposes, you need to drink a lot of it. All right. Now, the reason we love bone broth so much, aside from the fact that it has a lot of minerals, it helps to reduce inflammation, and it's easy to digest, it contains collagen. And collagen is a really great protein that helps to repair your gut lining. Now, think of collagen, well, because it's a protein, so think of protein as a muscle food. All right. Now, muscle foods, proteins help to feed the muscle to help them become strong, and your gut lining is a muscle. And so that's why we really want to add those extra nutrient-dense, easy to digest proteins like a bone broth so that you can easily get gut healing without having to eat a steak, which is going to be tough to digest when you have an underactive stomach. So bone broth is something really, really easy to add in. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it feels intimidating, but when you first make it, you're going to be like, this is actually really easy. And then you're going to be the person, like the family member that hoards the turkey carcass, right? You're going to be like, can I take that home during Thanksgiving or Easter or Christmas? I'm that family member, right? If I'm not hosting, I'm like, can I take that home? And you want to do that too. All right. So it's very easy to make. And I'm just going to tell you, if you go and buy it from a store pre-made, it's going to cost you a fortune and it's not going to be as nutrient dense. And I'm not a fan of the powders. Everyone always asks me, what about the powdered bone broth? It's been processed. It's not fresh. It's not as good as the good, like fresh, real stuff. Okay. So I've included the link above. Okay. Jump over there. It's linked up on our blog. I've got a recipe for bone broth. It's super easy. And again, you can do this whether it's at Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, whenever you do a turkey, and I'll make a big ass batch of it and I freeze it. And then if you run out in between, you can go to a local butcher and they will sell you bones for like $5 a bag. Okay. They're like dirt cheap. Now, if you're unsure where to get bones or if you have to go get bones and you're not sure what to ask for, I would recommend starting with chicken bones. Beef bones are a little bit more fatty and not everyone loves them. And if you've got gallbladder issues, then the beef bones are probably not going to be a good place to start. But start with the chicken. And let them know that you're doing it for bone broth. And you want to get like the beaks and like the claws, the feet and everything. You want to get all those gnarly pieces that we don't typically eat. That's where the nutrients are. All right. So I'll never forget, recently I ran out of bone broth. And so I went to a local farmer and they sell these bags and it was for bone broth and it came frozen. And so I'm making this bone broth and it was starting to thaw and I'm stirring it. And all of a sudden this chicken head floats up to the top. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Anyways, that's the kind of stuff that you want in your bone broth. All right. You're going to strain it out after, freeze it, and then drink it daily, 2 to 3 times, guys. Get it into you. All right. The second food that you want to be adding into your diet. And remember, guys, if we're using food to heal, then we need to do it more than once in a blue moon. So the second food you want to be adding in is cabbage. And interestingly, there has been a lot of research around cabbage juice specifically. Basically, the reason they say cabbage juice is because we've taken a whole head of cabbage and reduced it and condensed it down to get those active good ingredients in it. What ingredients are we looking for is L-glutamine. So cabbage is high in this nutrient amino acid specifically called L-glutamine, and L-glutamine is another muscle food. And it actually has been shown to help repair leaky gut. And so if you're going to use a cabbage, I would suggest either cooking it and eating it if you can, as much as you can, or if you have a juicer, then making cabbage juice. And they actually recommend doing a whole head of cabbage, juicing that down, and drinking a whole head of cabbage juice per day. All right? There's a ton of cool research around that. And don't do the cabbage juice diet. Promise me you're not going to do that, guys. You're going to start Googling. Don't do that, all right? I'm not saying live on just cabbage juice. I'm saying get the cabbage juice mixed into your day-to-day diet. Just like everyone's gone all crazy on celery juice, y'all should be drinking cabbage juice. No one ever told you, so I'm going to tell you. Cabbage juice, because remember, L-glutamine, all right? So here's the third ingredient, is turmeric. Now, you guys have also probably heard of turmeric, but here's the challenge, guys, is if you're hearing this stuff and you're like, oh, I've heard this before, but you're not doing it, then you need to really keep listening, all right? The thing is if you have knowledge, but you're not taking action, it's a waste of that information, right? It's just not going to help you. And so I really want to make sure that we're getting you guys a way to implement it so that you actually do it. So click on the blog post above. It's totally free. It's just on our blog. We wrote this a couple years ago. I wrote it a couple years ago. I want you to tap into these recipes and you can easily use them on a daily basis. Okay, so turmeric, link above. I've got this delicious recipe for golden milk. All right, it feels like a warm cup of milk to me, which I don't drink milk, but it tastes like a hug. It is so comforting. I really love doing it in the evening. You know, you curl up with a blankie and a book or Netflix, whatever you want, right? And you enjoy this warm cup of golden milk, and it is so soothing. It is so soothing, and my phone's about to die now. All right. So why do we care about turmeric? Turmeric is anti-inflammatory, but it's not enough just to eat turmeric. It's really important that we pair turmeric with black pepper and a bit of healthy fat. Okay, now, why do we need these two ingredients? Well, what we've seen through studies is that a healthy fat like coconut oil, for example, and just a pinch of black pepper helps to activate the active ingredients in turmeric that are anti-inflammatory. So curcumin is the ingredient that has all those inflammatory benefit or anti-inflammatory benefits, but if we're just eating the turmeric and we're not able to access the curcumin in it, then it's not really going to help us in the way that we want it to. And so a lot of people will add turmeric to their smoothies, for example, or they eat with turmeric, but you must pair it with just a pinch of pepper and a bit of coconut oil is what I like to do as my healthy fat. So in the golden milk recipe, you'll see those ingredients. You can do either pepper. If you don't love the pepper in your golden milk, it's all good. Do the coconut oil, all right? But get that going so that you can activate the anti-inflammatory benefits and make sure, again, remember guys, just as the bone broth, if you're using these foods for medicinal purposes, you need to be drinking 2 to 3 cups per day. Now, what I love to encourage our clients to do in the Love and Trust Your Guts program is when we're using these kinds of gut healing liquids like bone broth, like cabbage juice, like golden milk, then what you want to do is make it 3 gut healing liquids per day. You don't have to just do bone broth or just do turmeric milk. You can rotate. So you could do a cup of cabbage juice with breakfast. You could do a bone broth mid-morning or mid-afternoon with a snack. And then you could do your golden milk in the evening before bed. You see what we did there? So you can rotate around, interchange these. So you're not getting bored of drinking the same stuff, but you're getting 3 cups of medicinal, healing, nutrient-dense liquids that are going to work on repairing that leaky gut. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Let me just check through. I know we got a couple questions. Cindy's asking red or green cabbage. Honestly, either is fine. Red has a little bit more nutrients in it, we'll say, different than a green cabbage, but either is really fine at the end of the day. Carly's asking, turmeric supplement, is that okay? Sure, you can do that, but I find that, again, a lot of the times there's a lot of supplements that are just like powdered turmeric in a capsule, which, remember, we want to make sure we're activating the turmeric and getting the good active ingredients. So not all turmeric supplements are made equal, and if you're supplementing turmeric, you want to be making sure you're getting a good quality one that's isolating that active ingredient curcumin, or pairing that turmeric with black pepper and a healthy fat. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Make sure you guys get these gut healing liquids in. Click the link up above. It just links you up to our blog where we've included these recipes so you can easily integrate them into your day-to-day life. We will see you in a couple of weeks because I'm going to get married in a week from now, and I'm taking a couple of weeks off. So we won't have a Facebook Live next week or the following, but I will be back in early September, and we're going to keep jamming out on your gut. All right, guys, bye.